What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? You're tuned in to the Arrowhead Chief Podcast, episode 181, Chiefs Draft Recap. The draft happened this past weekend, and we got some new players on the Kansas City Chiefs. Really excited about a lot of these guys that we drafted. We got my guy Ash in here, man. We're going to break it all the way down. So let's talk Chiefs.
Yeah, Arrowhead Chiefs. It's your girl, Miss Nicole. Queen of Hustle, baby. Started from the bottom, now we here. My homie at the start of his career. Let's go. Try to win him early, hear the truth. Tune in every Sunday for the juice. Arrowhead Chief Podcast, bringing all the news. If you missed the play, come back for reviews. Quick style. Out here rapping for the crew. Post game highlights, go subscribe on YouTube. If you missed the play, come back for reviews. Post game highlights, go subscribe on YouTube.
And we are back, Arrowhead Chief Podcast, episode 181, Chiefs Draft Recap. Ash, what's going on, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just, recovering from the marathon that is the NFL draft. And been looking forward to it. It was like the last few weeks are really lingered and just kind of suspense. But, man, Veach came up and he showed up. It was a good time. So, been pumped to talk about it with somebody. And, let's see if we had some similar thoughts on it all.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and bring up some of these people on the list. Boom. So here we are. Where it go? Here it is. We got first round. We traded up with the Buffalo Bills, surprisingly.
Right?
And got I'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah. We got wide receiver speedy wide receiver Xavier Worthy, and everybody's tripping about it. Some people are tripping about his size. They try to compare him to like the John Rosses and guys like that. But Xavier Worthy is a receiver who is fast. He's not just a fast guy. He can run routes. He was highly productive in Texas. His freshman year, he had like over 900 something yards. Like, you look at his overall career in Texas, all his yardage, it's comparable to Martin Harrison Jr. So do with that information you want to do with it. But I love this pick. I knew right away when he was slipping down the board and we traded up, I already knew who we was going to get. I knew we was going to get Xavier Worthy. I knew we wasn't going to get Xavier Legette or A.D. Mitchell, which, I feel bad for the kid. They did him a disservice, letting that man slip like that. But, we got the receiver that fits our scheme. Andy Reid is going to move this kid all around. He did the same thing in Texas. And like I said, I love the pick. What was your thought?
Yeah, man. I think first and foremost, we got to give a shout out and big props and thanks to the Buffalo Bills because, man, they just keep looking out for us, whether it's we need to trade up for a franchise-changing quarterback and, Buffalo will be there to help us out in that situation. Or, if you just needed to win a playoff game with 13 seconds left on the clock, Buffalo will come up and help us out there. So it's only right that they came and stepped up when we needed a real jolt to – make sure we never have a stagnant offense like we did this last year. And shout out to Buffalo for helping us out there again. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, he's like, I was going into it saying whatever wide receiver Veach goes with here, it'll be kind of telling of where they're looking to go with it going forward. And I was kind of off Worthy because I was like, well, I mean, we already got Hollywood, who I think plays a very similar role and can bring similar results. But then after it happened and it was really settling in, I'm like, okay, that's what Veach sees us going forward. Because typically with Andy Reid offenses, rookies take a year to get implemented in that, and they want to bring them in slowly. So what better mentor to give him in like how to play this role the right way if the game plan is already to have Hollywood be gone next year. So it really was like a perfect plug and play. Like, okay, that role, that deep big play wide receiver aspect that hasn't been there the past few years. They want that back, and now they doubled down to make sure that that's going to be here, and not just this year, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they want to unveil that. But I thought it was interesting that they specifically brought him up as a punt returner as well. I believe I saw stats saying that Worthy was the best punt returner in college last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm just going to bring it up every pod at this point, but we don't really know like what the return game, like how much impact that's going to have. But I don't know. I mean, you're out in Vegas. Maybe you can look at the books for us in terms of like, is there any bet on like which team is going to have the most return touchdowns? Because I'm thinking the Chiefs have to be the favorite at this point. I think they got a lot of options that they can get creative with now, especially if the guy could run a low 4.2. That should help. Yeah, I like what he does down the field. I like how he runs his routes. I've been seeing Deshaun Jackson. I've been seeing John Ross, but really, he's kind of built like Devontae Smith. Like he's the same. He's 6'1". Devontae Smith, I believe, is 6 foot even, but they're both around that 170 weight range. So, and he kind of moves like him. I mean, he's not quite the route runner that Devontae Smith is, but he can get open. He gets open with quick feet and smart route running. So he's not just a John Ross. He's not just a deep route guy. But he is someone who can do the nuances, but he is on the thinner side. But all in all, I definitely warmed up to it. Kudos to you. He was on your draft list.
He was on my board. He was on my board.
Yeah, and you told people to put some money on him for 500. They would have made some money on him
too.
So
would have made money too, right? I was for sure. V even talked about his weight. He talked about his weight and said, we could put like 10 pounds, 10, 15 pounds on him. So, get him to 175, maybe 180. Probably by the time the season starts. Get him some good barbecue, and then put him out on the field. But no, like I said, I'm excited for this, man. Him, Hollywood, the days of stacking 8 in the box and not worried about the Chiefs receivers getting over. Those days is over. Travis Kelce we'll talk about Travis a little later, but he added some years to his playing career with these two guys on the outside, running down the field, and Rashee Rice. That's going to help Rashee too on the underneath routes. So yeah, man, like I said, I'm excited, bro.
Top to bottom, this has to be Mahomes' best weapons group, I'd say. I mean, yeah,
whatever. You nailed it, Joe. Yeah, I'll give you a little credit. But the next pick, everybody was actually mocking this guy in the first round, right? But he actually ended up slipping, and it was funny that we end up trading up one spot with the 49ers, which maybe somebody was going to come up and get this kid, Kingsley Suamatea, out of BYU. Big, was like 6'7", 6'6", 6'8", 320 some odd pounds. But an athlete. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of raw. He needs to work. But this kid, it can be a perennial left tackle. He has some NFL lineage. He's related to Penei Sewell and Puka Nacua. And he has other family members that was in the NFL. So he has NFL lineage too. So I love this pick. I watched his press conference. I like his attitude, I like his energy. He's definitely going to be somebody everybody loves. I guess he had an encounter with Chris Jones. He did on the visit. I thought that story was kind of funny. But I love this kid, you know what I'm saying? And I love him being our left tackle for the next how many years he's gonna be here. So what was your thoughts?
Big fan of his. Was like you said, he was my guy I wanted at 32, and I was surprised they weren't more aggressive with it. Like he was like that last tackle to really fall off that cliff too. Like I don't know how that's how that played out, and that it all just came up roses. So I'm here for it. I think it's fascinating to see, like, because again, I'm just all about like this is what they see this offense going forward. Like how are they really going to start to structure this and build around Mahomes once like this next wave starts to leave, like this interior line, which we get to later. But, like they're starting to have to reshape some identities here, and to see them go like the old school, like this is an Andy Reid left tackle. This isn't an Orlando Brown. This isn't a Donovan Smith. They're just big space eaters. This guy gets out on screens. He's incredibly athletic. There's a lot to work with in that aspect of things. Now it's more about technique and cleaning him up as a genuine football player. But dude's 21, and Worthy is another young. He's young as well.
21. He just turned 21.
Right, like Saturday, I believe.
But
I loved it. I mean, couldn't be A plus plus. Like, couldn't have been a higher pick grade for me with him. I think it's a perfect Wanya Morris competition piece. I mean, both him and Kingsley can now play that switch tackle role in the meantime. So the tackles are locked up. Tackles are locked up for like 2 to 3 years at the least, because you can't get rid of Juwan Taylor. No reason to get rid of Wanya. So I'm all about it. That was a great. Yeah, I'm in.
And with us trading with Buffalo, we traded away our 3rd round pick. So we had to wait to the 4th. Everybody thought, maybe, Veach would trade up back into the 3rd, because he had literally 2 4th round picks that were like that. You might as well say they were back to back. It was like Chiefs, whatever team, and then Chiefs. But they end up standing pat, and they got one of you guys on your big board. Jared Wiley, tight end. Now, if you look at his RAS score, his athletic testing, it's very similar to Travis Kelce. I'm not saying he's Travis Kelce, but it's very similar. Former quarterback. He was recruited to Texas as a quarterback, but he ended up transitioning to tight end, and he end up transferring to TCU, and very highly productive tight end. Very good in running down the seams. Big guy. He's like 6'6". He's like 245, 250, 260 range. He's good in the seams, can get away from linebackers. Good in the red zone. Definitely good in the red zone. Definitely a guy that I saw that I like too. He can sit behind Travis Kelce and Noah Gray, learn the game. And maybe in a couple of years, if Travis ends up retiring, we got Jared Wiley to step in for us. So I'm gonna let you have the floor, because this is one of your guys.
Yeah. Man, when I was going through the tight end groups, I just wasn't seeing much really stick out besides Brock Bowers, which, by the way, worst possible space for him to go from a fantasy perspective. But Brock Bowers, we talked about months from now. But as I was looking through the rest of the group, I was like, okay, if Bowers is going to happen, so who else is out there that I could like? And once I saw Wiley out of him, like I just didn't want to watch anybody else, and I was just really putting all my eggs in that basket. And I thought I would have to take the 3rd round. I saw he was starting to sneak up into some people's like number 99, number 100, number 102, and I was like, okay, well, maybe. But the dude's hell of an athlete. You already talked on it. Not as shifty or like laterally fluid as Kelce was coming out, but explosiveness, just straight line speed. The dude's just an athlete, just point blank. Long, like he kind of, when he catches, I kind of felt it was almost like how I remember like Jimmy Graham being really good at extension, and he's not nearly like post up former basketball player presence that Jimmy Graham is in like the red zone, but in terms of just his catching style. And I was just really feeling confident that he's going to bring in whatever he's targeted with. So, and then it's actually started to make me think about him being a former quarterback, who's like, maybe there's something to like the fact that, they're used to catching snaps. And like, you could see like he was good at extending and getting the ball instead of not a lot of body catches and things like that. But I digress. I think he's a perfect mold for Kelce to really mentor and bring in like, because I mean, as a former quarterback, there's going to be different levels of football IQ that we're dealing with now. So I could see him
Yeah.
being really good at diagnosing post snap and seeing what defenses are doing and really finding the holes in the defense the same way that Kelsey has made a Hall of Fame and greatest tight end of all time career out of. I just loved it. I think he's everything we could hope for from a developmental tight end. I still have hopes for Noah Gray, but at the end of the day, he just doesn't bring the same capabilities that Wiley can. And honestly, I could see Wiley completely surprising and shocking people and having like 5 touchdowns this year. I think he can be a great tight end 2, tight end 3 on the line, like red zone, a lot of like misdirections in the backfield, and then he just like leaks out down the seam because he's going to be open because of his size, because of his explosion. He can have a window pretty consistently if everybody's spread out going to the horizontals. Like I could see him sneaky, like picking up just touchdowns along the way. So another A+ pick. I'm all about it. Veach had me just glowing by this point. I was freaking out. And then, yeah, we didn't have to wait too longer for the next edition.
Yeah. So the next edition, at a Washington State safety, Jaden Hicks. He's actually from here, from Vegas. He went to Bishop Gorman, who, if anybody knows about high schools, Bishop Gorman is one of the top schools in the nation, not even just in Vegas, in the country. Like they pretty much recruit people. They had Snoop Dogg's son. Snoop moved out here for a year. They had a few other celebrity kids, that were out here. So they get a lot of the top players. So Jaden Hicks, he's a move around safety. Yeah, he could play deep. He could play in the box. He could hit, and he's big. He's like 6'3", so he's not a small dude. I like this pick. I don't think Justin Reed is going to be on this team next year. So I think that this guy is going to be his understudy. He's going to learn from him. And then when Justin Reed is gone next year, we get Jaden Hicks. So what was your thoughts on Hicks?
The moment they started playing his highlights and like just started showing what he's done, like it just beamed to me like that's Justin Reed's replacement. Like that is going to be the guy who does the things that Justin Reed is currently asked to do.
It might be better.
Athletically, for sure. We'll see, like in terms of intangibles and just like coach on the field, because I do think he brings a lot of value in that range, just as like a second green sticker if need be. But from a capability standpoint, I mean, he was the top safety on a lot of people's boards, and the fact that he went to the 4th round says a lot about just the overall position value across the market. But I still don't have any idea how he dropped this much. Dudes, I was a little curious about how Veach would go about the cornerback position, but when something like this falls into their lap, it just makes me just much more curious. Like they have so much talent at safety right now. Like there's so many options for Spags to get really creative and do a lot of different stuff. And he won't have to put as much weight on the guys on the outside if he's got 5 pieces he can do on the inside. I mean, we'll see. Cook should be good to go by the beginning of next year. Is Reed. Shamari Connor was coming along really well. I liked where he was at with everything. And at Nick Jones, we'll see what he's all about. And then you add him to the list. I felt really good with what Mike Edwards brought to the table last year. I thought he did a lot of made a lot of plays, and he was someone that brought a lot of value off the bench. And now we got 2 guys that I feel good that could play that role. And going into this, I was mentioning just the value of having a safety that can come in and hit and like really bring some more pressure from that angle. And then we came and got this guy, and great instincts, incredibly physical, big. So another great pick.
All right, next pick. Now this is more of a future pick and is Allegretti replacement pick. He was a center at Penn State but I think he's going to be a guard. A lot of people, when they saw center, they thought, oh, they might not be signing Creed Humphrey, but I don't think this is a Creed Humphrey replacement. This might be a Trey Smith replacement, or maybe even a Joe Tooney replacement. But Hunter Norzad out of Penn State, um, this guy is valuable because he can play all, like they said, all five positions on the offensive line. So if you need him in the pinch, you can put him in, but he could definitely play left guard, right guard, and he could play center. And that's very valuable. You know, the Kansas City Chiefs, they like guys who are versatile, especially on that offensive line. So this was a good pick. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit there and act like I know everything about Hunter Norzad, but um, I do like the pick because I knew we was going to get some interior offensive line, and what better way to get it right here at good value.
Mhm. Yep, just shores up the depth. Again, like with Kingsley and the Wanya situation, you have your three tackles at both those groups that you feel good being flexible with, and with the interior. I mean, with Allegretti gone, you're going to need someone who can play multiple. Just because again, this roster is so stacked, like you can't really
Mm-hmm.
waste any places. Just like making sure the O line's patched up, but yeah, I feel good about it. I think you touched on it in terms of what they're thinking going forward. Trey Smith, Tooney, I just don't see there being the money. And with Creed, we're just gonna have to keep that interior line room really flooded and just continually stocked. Because we're gonna be losing some studs soon. But hey, in the meantime, get some depth late in the draft and keep it moving.
Yeah, for sure. The next pick is Kamal Haddon, uh, cornerback out of Tennessee. Now, this kid, in the beginning of the season, he was actually rated really high. I think he had like a 93.3 PFF score. Like, this kid was a very good corner. I think
Hmm.
the passer rating on him when people targeted him was like, I don't know, 7 point something. So he was a very good corner, but he ended up getting hurt in his shoulder. So he didn't. I think he didn't play most of the season. And then he went to the Senior Bowl, and he still had this shoulder injury. But a lot of people say that when healthy, he has mass potential. Not much. He's not a fast guy, but he has all the measurables that Legarius need. He's 6'1", 100 and some 80, 90 pounds, but he's a good cover corner, and I just think it's just to add to that corner, that secondary room competition, and see what this kid can do.
Yeah. So let Dave Merritt go to work, and good size, shown good coverage, and yeah, think he's going to be, because that's what we were talking about last week, right? Is like they're going to at least have to have someone who could do at least the asks that Snead had with getting physical with someone on the line and sticking with them, running with them off the line, and just really playing that role while all the other chaos occurs throughout the rest of the defense. So yeah, I trust anything that Veach wants to do cornerback wise late in the draft. That in itself gives me the stamp of approval that this guy's good enough for me. But yeah, from what I saw, seemed to be pretty good. I didn't see much from a athleticism standpoint that was setting him back. I'm not quite sure why he made it all the way to the sixth in terms of play wise. So maybe the shoulder injury is a little bit more serious than, or maybe just at least something that really needs to be vetted. And then from
Mhm.
there, yeah, let Dave cook and just let them at the end of the day see if he's better than Watson or Williams, and yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then the last pick, seventh round, we got guard C.J. Hansen at a Holy Cross. Just to, like I said, another interior line piece. Probably, if he can, push some of these guys on the interior, that's cool. But I could also see this being one of those seventh round, end up being on the practice squad type guys. They stash him away. Maybe he has one of those, mysterious Kansas City training camp injuries that they stash him away.
He broke
You
his
know what I'm
finger.
saying? So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I look at that. But I don't mind it. Like I said, they wanted to add depth to that offensive line, and with the Nick Allegretti's gone, I can see why they wanted that. She's saying hello.
Yep. Just
Uh,
to the group.
but yeah, man, that was our draft. What grade would you give this draft?
I mean, the two A pluses. I mean, it can't be anything less than an A.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
you can
sounds
get
good.
picky to say that, but I mean, yeah, A plus. I'm feeling pretty good. Like, yeah, give it like a 96, 97, wherever that is.
Do
Maybe
you
I would say
do
the
you,
only thing, I don't know how much you had to trade up for work. Maybe a little bit, but
mm,
yeah, maybe just the compensation if I'm being like the most nitpicky possibly.
right,
But
right, right.
I do like the fact that we got them from the Bills and the 49ers. There's just
Mm-hmm,
something really cool about that.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, I'm all about it. This was probably my favorite Veach draft,
yeah.
like
Mm,
right out the gate. And I just don't see. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the best roster of Mahomes' tenure so far, from top to
mm-hmm,
bottom. There just isn't many holes. I mean, we'll see what happens at the cornerback position. I'm I would have liked to see some linebacker support, maybe instead of one of these, instead of two interior depth people, maybe we could have got a linebacker in the seventh. But again, that's just me being as nitpicky as possible. I really like where the offensive line's at. I really like what they're doing with wide receiver. They only went with one, like we thought they would, which makes me
mm-hmm,
think don't sleep on Darius Tony, uh, and yeah, and Justin Ross, I guess, because they still need that big body receiver out there. Like they still need to
mm-hmm.
bring some size in at that position, and
I could see them
yeah,
still bringing in a veteran,
yeah,
possibly.
probably. I wouldn't doubt.
Maybe a
Um,
Tyler Boyd, or somebody like
Yeah,
that.
you've been trumpeting Boyd.
Zay
I'm
Jones, Zay
Zay
Jones
Jones
just
got
got
cut,
cut too, so
and
he's
yeah,
a
there could
good
be a
like.
whole bunch of cuts from that lane. We just had a whole lot of rookie wide receivers get drafted, so
Mhm,
that could be taking a lot of roster spots soon.
mhm,
But yeah, overall feeling good. I do wish, not wish, but I'm so I'm really curious with the fact that they didn't do anything at running back. So we didn't touch on undrafted free agents, but I do like Amani Bailey. I think he's a
I
really
do too.
good get for no draft picks. Like if we're not getting anybody,
Hmm.
that's a good undrafted one. Run similar to how kind of Pacheco brings to the table, which I thought was interesting.
Hmm.
But more than anything
Which
else,
which which was crazy. If you look at his RAS score, it's like bad. It's
yeah,
terrible. Like his athletic scoring is terrible. But you watch him in game, it's
watch him.
like
He's moving.
what the
Yeah.
hell? What did he do? Was he
Uh,
sick?
yeah, maybe, but it just was interesting that they didn't value him that position
Yeah.
very high. Which, when then again, you're looking at the type now they're going with Kingsley. Now he's that leaner type of left tackle. You're not investing much in the running back. Whereas the last few years, I thought they're bulking up on the offensive line. Maybe they're going to try to go more under center power running, which they kind of did with Pacheco, and it didn't work out. So to kind of see
Mhm.
where they went with this draft makes me think, okay, we might be getting air raid Mahomes. Like this last few years with Kelsey might just be complete old Andy Reid, a lot of screens, a lot of dump balls. Like the worst play you can do on a Kansas City offense is take the ball out of Mahomes' hands. And I
Right.
think it looks like they might be leaning into that with they're not investing much at a running back to justify, really keeping the running game going. It could just be a lot of screens and a lot of underneath stuff with Rice and Kelsey, and then just deep stuff with Hollywood and Worthy now. So
Mhm.
fascinating to see where this offense is going to go going forward. Makes me feel really good about Mahomes and fantasy. So yeah, I'm feeling quite where it is.
It wasn't the fact. First off,
Right.
Joe, it's not that we don't want to draft a running back.
Appreciate
It
it.
was just one in the first round. You was talking about getting one
Yeah.
in the first round, my brother. that year.
Jalen
Not
Wright
this year.
going to Miami was wild.
Yeah,
Tyrone
I don't know,
Tracy
man.
went
They
higher than
just
I thought he would. But
yeah. Blake McCorum to the Rams and Trey
spicy.
Benson to the Cardinals. Matter of
Gross.
fact, let's do that. Let's talk about this first round. I want to talk about some of our division and conference people.
This division's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's funny.
I will say the Raiders, I have the biggest feeling they got caught with their pants down with that Brock Bowers pick. They did not want to pick Brock Bowers. They were completely prepared to go Penix. And then Falcons just completely took it off the board. And which, by the
Slipped
way,
the rug
Penix,
underneath.
what? I thought top 20 for sure, but yeah, Falcons liked him more than I did. I not liked him enough to completely disregard Kirk Cousins' feelings. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. But yeah, if you look up here, we all knew Caleb Williams is going to go number one. Pretty much everybody knew Jaden Daniels. It was either between Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Jaden Daniels ended up going number two to the Commanders. Drake May to the Patriots. Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. No surprise that Joe Alt went to the Chargers. I know how Jim Harbaugh thinks. He likes the trenches. He even said it. We look at offensive line like weapons too. New York Giants get Malik Neighbors. The Titans
so
get J.C. Latham.
too.
He did look disappointed. He didn't even say Daniel Jones' name right. He called him, what did he call him? Daniel Jones. They even asked him, "Are you excited? What is your thoughts?" I don't know yet. I gotta wait till I get out on the field with him. I'm like, damn. I'll let you know everything you need to know.
Right. It's be another Tony situation.
But yeah, Michael Penny's going to the Falcons. Wow. I didn't understand it. A lot of people are trying to justify, oh, well, in a couple of years, you won't have to worry about getting a replacement. But why would you like this move would have made more sense if okay, you go pay Gardner Minshew 2 years, $15 million, and then you say, all right, we drafted Penix. I would have understood it then. But you just paid Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles $180 million. I get it, yeah, it's a 2-year deal, but here's my question. What's gonna happen? And I'm not wishing no injuries on nobody. I hope everybody stays healthy because football is better when the top guys are healthy. But what's gonna happen when Kirk Cousins strains something or something happens and he's out for 3 to 4 games and Michael Penix comes out there and looks like CJ Stroud? You gonna go back to Kirk Cousins?
Right.
No.
Right. And the thing is, on top of that, he's rehabbing. He's recovering from Achilles. They're probably not going to be throwing him out there during OTAs and training camp and preseason. So Penix is going to be getting these snaps. Penix is going to be getting this chemistry going. He's going to be getting all of the reps that is getting used to this offense and getting people kind of rallied behind what the future looks like with them. But so Cousins is going to have to come in and do all that. So when your scenario happens, whoa, yikes.
Or even worse, let's say Kirk Cousins, he plays like 2 to 3 games and he's not, and it's kind of like the offense ain't clicking yet. And that scenario happens. And Penix comes in and he's lighting it up. You gonna go back to Cousins? No, right?
It seems short-sighted.
I just think this is what I think happened with Atlanta. The offseason came and they was like, and Arthur Blank was like, man, I need a quarterback. I'm tired of looking at what's your name, whoever quarterback we got right here. They're not good enough. We got a roster full of young talent. We got to get a quarterback. We got to get a veteran up in here who I know can light it up. Let's go get Kirk Cousins. So they go get Kirk Cousins, and they're like, all right, we set. We got a quarterback. We're good. Then the combine happens, all the pro days and all that stuff, and they had a private workout with Penix, and they're like, damn. We can't pass this dude up. We actually like this kid. And it's like, man, all right, man, we draft him. He slipped, we're going to draft him. And they end up doing it. and they knew that they couldn't say nothing. One, because they didn't want to tip their hand, but two, they didn't want to piss Cousins off in the beginning. So they tried to do it right before they called them right before. Hey, we're gonna draft Penix. All right, cool, and hung the phone
up. Apparently, yeah, man, and
but they had so
really
many
didn't even give him
other
a top 30
names.
visit. Like they didn't even bring him in. Like they didn't really get to know him. They just had a really good workout. Like that's our guy.
Yeah, and look, in 2 years, if Cousins is gone and Penix steps in and he has a great season and Atlanta goes off and becomes a Super Bowl contender, he maybe win the Super Bowl. We gonna sit back and be like, all right, it was a good pick. But right now, I don't think it's a good pick. You had plethora of needs on the defensive line. Still think you need help on the defensive line. Yes. I thought you reached for the dude that you got in the second round. No disrespect to the kid, but you got Dallas Turner sitting right there. You had Jared Verse sitting right there. Byron Murphy next to Jared. That would have been a problem.
We even mentioned the Falcons going into the draft. They're like, Falcons are looking good. It would be hard to see where they mess this one up. Yikes. That didn't turn out.
Get a corner. You could have got. You had your pick up in the corner you wanted because the corners didn't start coming off the board till late.
Yeah.
The first corner was pick at 22. You could have got Quentin Mitchell, Terrion Arnold.
Yeah, they didn't even get a corner.
I personally, I didn't get the Penix pick. You can't.
Yeah, 3 defensive tackles. They got a tackle in the second, a tackle in the 4th, and a DT in the 6th. Come on.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that this is the franchise that said Bill Belichick wasn't good enough for him. They turned Bill Belichick down.
I guarantee you, Bill Belichick was the head coach. He would not have drafted Michael Penix Jr. I guarantee you, Bill Belichick was the head coach. Michael Penix Jr. would not be their pick. It'd have been Dallas Turner. It'd have been one of them defensive tackles.
Yeah,
for sure.
Much richer defensive player than there is now, and then we wouldn't have that. They broke the record for the most consistent, longest picks until first defensive player was drafted. It was
not till 15.
The record was 7 teams before this year that doubled it this year. Incredible.
Then you have Romeo Dunza going to the Bears. Look, Caleb Williams, man. I'm not sitting here saying that he's gonna put up 5,000 yards, but damn it, he's got weapons galore. He's got weapons galore.
He's a character too.
That's what I'm saying. He's got weapons galore. He got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, Romeo Dunza, Swift in the backfield. Like, I'm just saying. When the Vikings traded up, I know. They was like, "Damn, man, you get all these weapons for him. What about me?"
Where was this?
Yeah, you on your way out, player. We ain't getting you nothing. That's why his stock dropped so low.
Yeah.
Then the Vikings, which we all figured they was gonna do, they traded up to 10 to get JJ McCarthy. If you listen to this pod and my other pod, you know that I'm not the biggest JJ McCarthy fan. I think that, they hyped this dude up. Well, we'll see. He's in a good situation, I'll tell you that. And he's got a coach team him up. So I'm just saying.
I would say arguably it's a better situation than what Caleb's in. And Caleb's in like an all-time situation right now. But like Jefferson's expected to be a top. Yeah, no, I mean Hawkinson, Addison, Jefferson. He's got mouths to feed. So as long as he just does his thing, he should have about Kirk Cousins' numbers.
Yeah. Then that's played his start and get Aaron Rodgers some more offensive linemen. Good job, Jets. Didn't do something stupid and get him another weapon. You don't need no more. They actually got a wide receiver in the second round, but then the good old Broncos. Huh?
Yeah. I didn't get the Bowers hype to the Jets. It never really fully made sense to me.
But they need a offensive line.
Yeah. And then Sean Payton is just gonna act like this is always what I wanted.
He act like, oh, I fleeced Minnesota.
Dude,
Okay.
I can't wait to beat him. I can't wait to sweep their ass every time again.
Go ahead and think that about Bo Nix. Hell, Minnesota laughing at y'all. Like, I rather have JJ and Bo Nix. Hey, but at least Bo Nix gets his receiver and Troy Franklin. So,
that was interesting. Yeah, I like that pick a lot.
He dropped all the way to 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was probably the best value. Yeah, that's probably the best value of the draft.
Brock Bowers goes to the Raiders. I didn't understand this pick. Shout out to my boy Ma. He's a Raider fan. At first, he didn't understand it, but he slept on it. Whatever. Brock Bowers is going to be a weapon. I guess they're going to run 2 tight end sets over there with him and Meyer. But I think they need defensive line help. I think they needed a corner. Like, I think they should have stuck to their defense and build that up. But what do I know?
I think they panicked. I think they had every intention of trading up or one of the quarterbacks dropping, and Bowers was literally like plan D that they had to like dust off and what do we do now? Like, oh God, let's just get the best player. And they ended up going with the position that doesn't make sense for where they are at franchise wise. I was a massive Bowers fan going into this. It couldn't taste grosser to see him be with the Raiders now. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of involvement, but from a fantasy perspective, him having to, see how it shapes up at the tight end position. I'm sure he's going to do a lot more slot wide receiver than what Meyer is doing. But you still got to feed Devontae Adams 160 targets a year. So, and it's going to be fed by Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. So gross. I did not like that pick, but for them, I guess it was their best choice available. I would probably put Murphy for him, but
yeah, for sure.
Vegas. Yeah,
for sure. I wouldn't be scared of, well, maybe more Penix, but JJ McCarthy too. I wouldn't have been scared of that, but whatever.
I just don't know what to expect at the wide receiver position, like the weapons in Broncos right now. We'll see what Sean Payton is. I'm pretty lukewarm on Sean Payton to begin with, and the way he kind of handled every time I see him talk, it's just making me less. It's not a very redeemable coach to my mind. So we'll see what he does. They did beat us last year, so that's the first time since the Obama administration was in office. So I guess they're doing something better than they typically do.
I got a confession, Chiefs Kingdom. Don't hate me for this, but the Bengals had a good draft, y'all.
Which one?
The Bengals. They had a good draft, y'all. I know. We hate them. We can't stand them.
You like the Mims pick?
Got an offensive. I just knew they was gonna get Brian Thomas Jr. I just knew it. And when they Mims, I said, "Oh, so you're gonna protect your quarterback?" Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next pick.
But then they signed Trent Brown too, though.
They did, but we'll see how that works. Maybe they kick Mims inside. I don't know. Then you had Chris Jenkins, good defensive lineman that I wouldn't have minded my Chiefs to draft, but I like what we got. But Chris Jenkins, good pass rushing, defensive tackle, and then Jermaine Burton. That's where they got that kid at. It was good value. You know what I'm saying? So I got to give them their props. They had a good draft. They did. But the Rams had a really good draft. Jared Verse and Braden Feast. You got 2 guys from their Florida State defensive line that know how to play with each other on that line. So I thought they had a good draft. Getting Blake McCorum too, that was a good draft for them. So I also thought the Cardinals had a good draft.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison Jr., Max Melton, corner, Darius Robinson, Missouri defensive tackle who could play inside and out, and Trey Benson, running back from Florida State. They actually did really good. They actually did really good.
Yeah.
I like what the Commanders did too. I like what the Commanders did.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, they got Tip Reeman. Big. We had him in our mock. DTD, Dadrian Taylor Demerson out of Texas Tech, round 4. I really liked him coming out. Max Melton was a fan. Trey Benson was a fan. So yeah, I definitely had Cardinals marked off for me as my personal favorite. I will say Bengals real quick though. I don't know, man. It kind of feels like a little Cedric Abwehi or Jake Fisher year. I don't know. I just don't really feel like Bengals are. I don't know if they got it yet, man. I did like the Chris Jenkins. I like Burton. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is with Higgins and kind of what their plan is going forward. But we'll see what they got going on. But yeah, no, I like the Cardinals. Anyone else stuck out? I thought the Pearson was really interesting.
Yeah, it was.
We'll see who gets moved from it with Ayuk or Debo, but it's interesting addition. I think he's more of a Ayuk than he is a Debo, so that's yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. I thought I think the Green Bay Packers did pretty good with their draft too.
Packers. Morgan. I thought Morgan went higher than I thought he would go.
Yeah. Eagles too. Gotta get Eagles. They fixed their secondary with Quentin Mitchell.
It's your secondary. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
How you feel about Larry McCarthy going to the Chargers? And they got Brandon.
Best space for him, right? But is he an alpha? Is he going to be the guy you could run your wide receiver core through? I mean, he could get open. He gets open. He's not that far from what actually Ricky Pearsall does. He was the number 1 receiver at Georgia. Maybe that could be enough pedigree to justify a transition to the next level. I mean, I'm targeting him in fantasy, but how high?
I think he's gonna be a slot guy. Yeah, I think he's gonna be a slot guy.
I don't know who else is deserving targets. I don't know who's going to deserve targets with the Chargers, or how many targets are there even going to be in Harbaugh?
Because they got to see what they got in Quentin Johnson. They have to.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are down on him because he's big, but he looks like he can't get separation. But we'll see. Maybe his second year he'll jump out. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting draft. I felt like the Chiefs got a lot over the weekend, and training camp's going to be fun. OTA is going to be fun, but really training camp, when the pads come on, that's when it's going to get real fun. And seeing these guys battle it out for position in that wide receiver room is going to be interesting. Past, of course, I would say the starting 3, because the starting 3 is Rice, Worthy, and Hollywood Brown. And then after that, we'll see how it goes. Justin Watson might be a 4. But Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Justin Ross, we'll see if, any of those guys, can step up and fight for a position on this team, or if they bring in a veteran. That'll let you know how they feel about Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. It will be interesting, and see how if this defense can maintain what they had last year. We got Chris Jones back. We signed a lot of our defensive linemen back. I do like some of the undrafted free agents that we got. The kid from Florida State, Lovett. I like him. He's a big body dude in the middle who could possibly push, Noddy and Pennell and Farrell. I also like that linebacker from Penn State, Jacobs, Curtis Jacobs. He's another guy.
Oh yeah, I saw something. Yeah, he hits.
He could possibly push for a spot on the team. You know, I'm not saying a starter, but he could push for a spot on the team or something like that. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. And I believe it was Miles Battle. I believe was his name.
Oh, the corner.
6'4" corner in a 4-3.
Yeah.
Don't know where
Now
that came out of.
Now he's definitely a project. Like he hasn't played corner very long. He was a wide receiver who switched to corner. He played at Ole Miss for 3 years, and then he went to Utah. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe what's the name has a little bit of insight on him.
Oh, we got someone on the.
Did you guys talk about the Bengals getting the draft? Yeah, we just talked about it, Nani. I felt like the Bengals actually had a good draft. Ash is a little bit like, eh.
Wait and see. We'll wait and see, man.
Eh. I thought they had
Do I really feel like Burrow's that much more protected? I guess, but at the same time,
I mean, they still have Orlando Brown Jr. They still got Orlando Brown Jr. out there, so.
I have my own scars from that experience as well. So yeah.
So he'll never be fully protected, but
right. As long as there's a speed guy on the outside, unlikely.
Yeah. So we'll see.
But yeah, no. Looking forward to
a bit in Utah, but mostly good. He'll be physical. Merritt will love him. Okay, see, that's what I was looking for, Joe. I know you knew.
Man, Joe. Yeah, no, he plays that size. He brings size to the room that needs it, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Let's talk about Travis Kelce.
Yep. We found that cap space. We found something to do with it.
My man got a 2-year, I would say a raise. I ain't gonna call it an extension. It was a raise.
I don't think anybody in the world is having a better year than Travis Kelce.
I agree with that. So it was he got $34.25 million for the 2 years remaining on his old deal. So they bumped it up. Because I think he was making like 14 or 15 or something like that. But now he's making, which this is such a Kelce thing because the highest paid person was making 17. So he was just like, I'll just make a 0.1, 17.1. And I'll be the highest paid.
Just to give that stamp.
So, yeah, just to give it the stamp and say I'm the highest paid. But I give him that. The town crowd X seems to think that we are doomed. We're all doomed. Who was that?
Talking about
that Lance spoke? Is that Lance the spoken? Oh, their time. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Zim.
Oh, Zim, man.
Yeah,
I've had my Zim experiences.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about Zim. But no, Sean Kelce, man, well deserved. Man deserves to be the highest paid tight end. He, even with it last year, he had his fair share of injuries. But later in the season, I would say the last game of the season when he rested, I think that helped him for the playoff push.
Yes.
You could tell. He looked better. He looked like he was more, agile. He's pretty much his old self. He made huge plays in the playoffs, and like I said, he deserves this pay. I don't think anybody in Chiefs Kingdom is like, why did we pay him? He's too old or anything like that. Like, no, he deserves this pay. And they were going to pay him as Mahomes wants him to stick around a more year. And I think that's the plan. I think it's a 2-year plan for Travis Kelce to stick around. Unless I can see a scenario this year. We win the Super Bowl and he has his numbers and maybe he's like, you know what? Maybe we want to ride out on the sunset. We want a 3-peat. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
But he's just close enough to Tony G's record. I think he's like 4,000 away, or maybe a little bit less now. But I think that's definitely kind of like it's a little clear at the end of the that he might need.
No, it is. I agree with that. I do see a scenario with that. Where he wants to break, because he said he wants to break Tony G's record. So we'll see how much he wants it after this season. But it could get interesting. We'll see.
Ultimately, though, from like his whole career, it's been under market, very team friendly deals from the jump. So this raise just kind of closes that gap a little bit more, but incredibly deserved. Very much, just again, I can't think of. I don't think anybody's had a better last 365 days than Travis Kelce. But I get, but I think there's also something to this. The draft happened. The pieces were put in play in terms of what Veach thinks this offense looks like going forward. And it really just solidified, like, we weren't going to the draft looking to find an alpha. Travis Kelce is our alpha, and now he's paid like it. And now they're really going to build out this offense going forward, built around him like it has been for the past decade. But you're going to have these guys going deep. You're going to have Rashee Rice be that consistent option. But at the end of the day, it runs through Travis. And now it looks like these next 2 years specifically is still going to be the Mahomes and Travis show. So respond accordingly in fantasy drafts in a few months. I think he's just going to keep getting fed. I think that knee injury that he was dealing with before the Detroit game, where we tweaked it and it just kind of screwed things up going forward. He got that 1 week off. And then I think that Baltimore Ravens game in the playoffs may have been Travis Kelce's best game of his career. He was insane that game. He was catching everything.
That first half, it was bad. I felt bad for Kyle Hamilton.
It was incredible.
Yeah. And I just think that he was I think the whole them being on the road, I think that took him and Mahomes to another level. Like, you know, the naysayers, everybody's saying that, the Chiefs, they ain't gonna get past this. You know, they'll make it at the first round because nobody believed in Miami, because you just saw a full season of Miami just getting pumped by every good team. Like, they would beat bad teams but lose to all the good teams. So everybody knew that they plus they knew that Miami couldn't play in the cold. So but when they went to Buffalo, everybody was expecting Buffalo to beat us, and they went in there and they went on a mission. And then the Baltimore game, I think more so the Baltimore game, I just think Trav and Mahomes was just so in tune, especially in that first half. It was just like, oh, you think y'all defense can't stop? Oh, okay. That's how we going to play. Okay, watch this. And it was just like, they just marched right down the field, like, boop, boop, boop. It was just like so quick, like, doop, 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 like, damn, they in the end zone? How that happened? Okay, that's a fluke. That was a fluke. Then they did it again. It's like
the Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah, so, and it just that their experience and them just being in so much adversity times together, you know what I'm saying? These two have been through the ups and downs, to thick and thin, you know, together, you know. When Tyreek Hill was there, then after Tyreek Hill was there, it was like, oh, this offense ain't gonna be as good. Everybody could just key in on Travis, and Travis has one of his better years that season. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then last year happens where they went through probably the most adversity this offense has ever seen. You know what I'm saying? And never really looked like that offense that we've all come to know. But they had to finally, you know, tailor-made what they had to figure out who they were. They figured it out towards the end of the season, and finally it was like, run the football more, don't make mistakes. And even Mahomes was like, all right, let me, you know, I gotta tailor it down. I can't do what I usually do. I gotta scale it back a little bit, play smarter, and it worked. It worked to the betterment of us winning the Super Bowl. So now this year, I think they went into the draft like, we got to get weapons. We got to get some speed, because we can't be so Travis Kelce dependent. He's getting older and his body can't handle that. You know what I'm saying? So let's give him a breather. Let's get some guys on the outside that can run past people and put pressure on this defense. So make life easier for Travis Kelce again. So like I said, shout out to Travis Kelce. You know, he's living his best life.
Yeah, he's doing well.
I like you gentlemen to tell me who's stopping the 3P. Biggest competition in our division and the AFC, please. Nobody in our division. Not right now. I do think Jim Harbaugh is trying to build something up over there, and I'm not going to discount him, but I don't think he's going to be a problem this year. Maybe next year, 2025, maybe. I'm not worried about the Broncos. They're out of sight, out of mind. Payton over there dealing money. But they're gonna stick with him because they don't want to look like fools. The Raiders are interesting because the Raiders, if they get a quarterback, the Raiders can be interesting. I will say that. I ain't gonna say that they can be, but I think they could be interesting if they get a quarterback. And it may be next year in the draft or free agency. So I don't see nobody in the division threatening us. Now, in the AFC period, you definitely got you definitely have to keep your eyes on the Texans. I'm not saying that they're gonna, but you got to keep your eyes on them because they loaded up. They really did,
They're
and
doing something.
they're putting all that. Yeah, they saw what they had in CJ Stroud, and they said, "Hold on, all right, we got to add to this defense. We got to add some more weapons because to beat the Chiefs, we got to outscore them, and we got to have some defensive pieces to match blow for blow with them." So, and I'm not sitting here saying that they can beat us because at the end of the day, we still have experience on our side. We got Patrick Mahomes; he's the best in the league. Andy Reid; he's the best coach in the league right now, and we got the best tight end. We got the best defensive the best defensive player, you could argue, in the league, and Chris Jones. But like I said, you gotta look at your peripherals and just keep your eyes on the Texans. Like, okay, they're over there. All right, well, I see y'all. The Bengals, I don't know about the Bengals. I don't know about them.
That wrist,
Buffalo,
man. That Burrow
Buffalo,
wrist.
Buffalo.
Suspicious.
I think they take a step back.
Yeah.
I think and I actually like the Keon Coleman pick. He looks like he's gonna be, fan favorite over there. I actually like the kid, like some of his sound bites. I liked his presser he did. He's pretty funny. It seems like he's a real down to earth kid.
Giving shopping tips.
Yeah. Even when I saw him when he was in the facility and they were showing him the little cold room place, whatever, the cold chamber or whatever. Yeah, and he was just like, "Oh, turn the lights on, put the Undertaker music on." It's like they gonna love him now. Yeah. He's got to produce on the field, but they gonna love.
He's got to separate, and I just don't know if Allen's got the abilities to make that happen.
Yeah, the donkeys not look like fools. Paying Russ damn near 100 minutes of pain. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But
I'm out on
as
the
far
Broncos. No edge rush, no pass rush.
No,
I'm not a big Knicks guy.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't see it. They would have to show me that they can compete. But like I said, as far as the AFC goes, it probably Houston. That's it. Maybe Ravens. I did like the Ravens draft. They got some good pieces on that draft, and they're always going to be right there because say what you want about Lamar Jackson, but those guys, they're always there at the end usually. So we'll see. But I still think that we got better than everybody over the weekend, and 3-peat is definitely on.
Yeah. I don't see them not making the playoffs at this point, and I think this previous playoff shows that if they make it to the playoffs, they're going to be the favorite throughout the Super Bowl, or at least they should.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't see anybody in the West stop.
We look like the Chiefs that we've all come to know and love. But that offense gets back clicking like it used to, and we scoring 35, 30, 40 points a game, and the defense looks something similar to what it would look like, at least top 10, then it's bad for the league. It's bad for it.
Yeah.
Because if you match a top 5 offense with a top 10 defense with this team, ain't nobody beating us, especially in the playoffs.
Right.
Especially, of course, every team has a chance on Sunday. The Chiefs gonna have their annual loop. How the hell did we lose to that team game? Right. We always had one of those games. I gotta look on the schedule and just point it out. Yeah, we always had one of those games. But let's see. Saw a question on Twitter: better Coach Harbaugh, Jim or John? What y'all say? Ooh, that's difficult.
Jim's one more, right?
I
Well,
think I'm gonna go with John because John got 2 Super Bowls. I gotta give it to John. John got 2 Super Bowls, or 1 Super Bowl, 1 or 2. He got a Super Bowl. I know that. Hell, he beat Jim
right.
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. No, I guess you got to go John
But
just
I
because.
think, look, I'll say this. I think Jim is better X's and O's. Like when we coming
Okay.
down to calling plays and calling a game, I think
Okay.
Jim is better. Because I don't think John is the big X's and O's guy. I just think he's the manage the team type guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he
They're
has
ready to
that
play every week
yeah, yeah. He's the
unless they played
motivator
in
and
playoffs.
he he manages the game. Okay, we need to call timeout. Oh, we need this. Oh, we need that type deal. Oh, you want to go for it? Let's go for it type deal. Like I don't think he's the X's and O's guy like Jim. Jim is X's and O's. So I think if we're coming down to like calling plays, is Jim.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I don't know.
But like
Because like
if the
I like John, but I sometimes John can make some questionable like decisions on the field. It's like I
sure,
ain't do that. Man.
but like
Could have kicked the field goal.
If the Panthers just lost Canales and they had an opening, like who would you say would be the better fit for like a team that is on the bottom needing to come back up?
And I think people would pick Jim over John.
Okay.
Like if those two were in the box and they had to pick between the two, I think they
Yeah,
would pick Jim.
probably.
The only reason why they wouldn't pick Jim because of what comes with Jim,
Uh,
like
a
the
lot of
attitude,
khakis.
he wears on people sometimes. That's why
Yeah.
in San Francisco it was just kind of like, yeah, we win, but I can't stand this dude. He's too much. He's just
Tired
too
of this
much.
man.
Yeah, Jim could be a lot. He could be a lot. I get it, but when it comes down to team building and X's and O's, I don't know, man. I think he might be better than John in that aspect. So
See it.
we'll see, though. We'll see. All right, man. Let's talk about Brett Veach. He had a press conference talking about the draft. He talked about trading up for Xavier Worthy. He
Yeah.
said that we saw him dropping and we saw him right there, so we wanted to go get our guy. I think he felt, and I also think he said that there were some teams that was talking about going to go get him. So I think he felt like people were going to trade to get him. I also think he probably felt like maybe the 49ers were going to draft him, or maybe even the Ravens were going to draft him. So that could have happened too. So I think they got in front of those two teams because it's no coincidence that San Francisco drafted Ricky Purcell. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they was going to go get Xavier Worthy and put him in this offense. So uh, yeah. So I found that interesting. But I'm not mad at Veach saying he wanted to go up and get his guy, and they went and got their guy. So
That's what he does. And
yeah,
I thought I was surprised they didn't get more aggressive going to get Kingsley. But it worked out. Not mad at it. I was expecting him to be a little bit more aggressive, but hey, it's a good letdown, I guess. Or I've couldn't be happier really with how everything turned out this offseason in general. Maybe a little bit more in compensation for Snead, but like that's not too crazy. Of maybe just bring Willie Gay back. I don't know. And
for that price that he got, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I guess they just used that cap space to make sure Kelsey was staying and happy. Which at the end of the day, not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that either. Also, he talked about Kingsley. He said that Andy Reid was sweating for 10 picks.
So yeah,
Probably thought he was going to get picked. And interesting enough, they traded up for 63 because I think it's a little bit of superstitious. Because at pick 63, they've had some good luck at 63. So maybe they went up to 63 because they feel like that,
sweet spot.
Superstition. You know what I'm saying? They got some guys. I think they got Kelsey at 63. Who they got? I think Nick Bolton. Somebody they got some Willie Gay. I think Willie Gay was at 63. There's a few other guys at 63, but
Is that the
I found
Humphrey
that
year?
interesting. Yeah, I think so. Creed was there too. But yeah, I think it was a little superstition right there. So they was like, let me go ahead and trade the 63 and pick this guy so he can be a, a shoe in to be good.
Hey, whatever
So,
works. If that's a part of his formula, I'm here for it.
and I also found it interesting when somebody asked him about bringing back Donovan Smith. He said in
Mhm.
OTAs and minicamp, he was like, "We're gonna let these young guys battle it out. We're gonna see what we can get out of these guys first." And
Cool.
so and to be honest, Donovan Smith doesn't want to go to OTAs. He doesn't want to go to
Right.
minicamp. He don't
Right.
do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure the Chiefs told him, "Hey man, just keep your phone
Yeah.
open. Yeah,
Stay
if we
loose.
need you, we'll call you around training camp time. Just be
Right.
healthy. Just stay in shape. Get ready for training camp." So, and maybe even in training camp that first week when they put the pads on and they see how Kingsley and Wanye Morris out there look, and they're not liking what they see, you might see at the bottom ticker. Chiefs signed Donovan Smith to 1 year, whatever
Yeah.
$1 million deal. So,
Right.
um,
Right.
but I found that interesting that he was pretty much putting it like, "Hey, we're gonna give these guys a chance to take this job," and
Mhm.
I think it's Kingsley's job to lose. Personally, I do. I think it's his job to lose. I think Andy Heck, if anybody's gonna get the best out of him, you want Andy Heck to train him up, and even Andy Reid because he's an offensive line guy. So and he's a
BYU.
BYU guy too. So
Mhm.
he wants this pick to succeed. So
Yeah.
and I want I think it has an opportunity to be a really good pick. So we'll
Mhm.
see. We'll see. Um, but yeah, it just pretty much said the board fell. Especially with the Jaden Hick pick, he was just like that he just fell right in our lap, and we just had to take him. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like we had some other guys on our board, but it's like you look up and it's like, damn, he's still there. Like nobody wants this kid. Like, nah, we gotta take. We gotta take him. He's too damn good. He's like you said, people had a second round grade on this guy.
Yeah.
I think Dame Bugler had a second round grade, and
Yeah.
as his best.
He was the top safety on Dane's
Yeah,
list.
and there was a few other people that had him number one on their
Hmm.
list. So you get a guy like that in the fourth round, like that's just great value. That's just great value. You can't pass up. Like once it gets down into the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round, that's just more so best player available type deal. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. And if you can get a guy who fits a need, then that's great too. But I just think at that point, it's like you just got to look at your board and be like, oh, well, this dude was number one, top 10, top 20 on our board. We got to take this kid right
Right.
here. Like, so he talked about that. And he also talked about the offensive line. A lot of people asked him, Hunter, he played center. He's like, this is more so a Nick Allegretti replacement. He put the rest on, are you trying to replace Creed? Like, no, we just want a Nick Allegretti replacement, a guy who can step in a pinch. If we need some help there,
Yeah.
we can get this kid in there, and he could play all the interior positions and step right in for us. So you definitely need that type of depth. We needed interior lineman depth, so it made sense. So
He created a Super Bowl favorite. They're going to go into this year, and it's going to be the king of the mountain once again. And he kept this team. Again, I just echo. I think this is the best roster Mahomes has had yet, and it's just
mhm.
we're going to see what the 2024 Chiefs look like. And from what I could see, from how I'm seeing it kind of play out already, I think this is going to be our best offense since the Tyreek years, and maybe not as good of a defense as it was last year, but yeah, probably looking at a top 10 defense as well. So
Probably
A plus.
it depend on what the corner. I mean, I trust in Trent McDuffie, but it's going to
Mhm.
depend on corner 2 through 4 how they look. You know what I'm saying? Because our safeties are going to be great. And it's going to be interesting to see how Spags dials this up. You know, I trust Spags. He knows how to, he understands that, look, I don't have the Jerry Sneed anymore. I do have Trent McDuffie. And we trust that he could do what L'Jarius Sneed did by taking away a side of the field and following the number one corner. But it's going to be dependent on who looks good this year. Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, you know, even Najee Johnson. Did he look like how he looked last year in training camp where everybody was hyping it up and saying, oh, this kid looks good? Um, we're going to see. We're going to see how they feel, you know, or do they bring in a veteran? They might bring in still a veteran in the cornerback position. There are some guys out there. So we'll see.
Yeah. Biggest X factor to me is Felix. That's all I'll say. If he comes up and steps up, I'm feeling really good secondary wise. Because if he's doing his thing, Chris Jones is doing his thing, George is doing his thing. Wait till week 7, week 8. Omenahu should be back. I mean, that's a top tier. That's a top tier D line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that'll make it a lot easier on those on the outside.
And I do like seeing that FAU is working with Tom Ali. You know, George Karlaftis, he worked with him last year in off season. So I do like that Felix is out there working with Tom, learning how to, you know, use his hands better. So hopefully, you know, that translates on the field. And hey, I want to give a shout out to Tom Ali for making the Ring of Honor. They honored him on Saturday. Announced that he is going to be entered into the Ring of Honor. So shout out to Tom Ali. He deserves it, man. He was one of our best defensive linemen to ever play with the Kansas City Chiefs. And definitely deserving. So
Justin Houston, Tamba Ali duo for those few years, man, that was a lot of fun. Those are some dark years in the Kansas City lane, but they made it really cool.
Justin Houston, man, he could have been.
He's still at it.
But he could have been great, man, if he didn't have any injuries, man. Like, he was producing 15, 16 sack seasons. Like,
incredible.
Almost broke the record. Like,
I just remember was that Bob Sutton, but he was about going for the record and then he dropped him back in coverage. It's like, what? Oh.
Don't mention Bob Sutton. I got scars from Bob Sutton.
I promise I won't mention him the rest of the year. That was my one Bob Sutton reference.
He should be in the Chiefs Hall of Shame. They should have a Hall of Shame. He should be in it. First ballot. Yeah. I thought Detroit did a pretty good job.
I like Detroit.
Yeah. I thought Detroit did pretty good. I hear you, Joe. You know what I'm saying? I hear you. But
give you something
where's
to
it
win.
gonna be? Where's it gonna be? Oh, it's gonna be in Green Bay next year.
Green Bay, yeah.
It's gonna be in Green Bay next year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cold.
See you there.
I'm not going to that one. Hell no.
No, I'm good on that. I think they're like actually doing it in the draft. There's no way that turns out well. Like Detroit's a major city. They have nightlife. It's like a metropolis. You could entertain a massive NFL event. And Kansas City did really well. I really enjoyed it when I was there. Green Bay, well, I guess we'll see. A lot of cheese and beer.
It should be a championship perk. I hear you. Championship. I'm not arguing with you, Joe. I agree. I'm not arguing with you. D4, a close second. Trigger words. People use. Oh, he should be in the Hall of Shame.
D Ford, man. Hey, that ended up getting us. Everything played out after that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I hear y'all, and look, at the time I was pissed off. I was mad.
Oh man!
But D Ford is the one who triggered the Super Bowl run. If you think about it, like if we don't get rid of D Ford and he doesn't go offsides, and Tom Brady throws that pick, let's say we go on and beat the Rams in the Super Bowl, they might keep Bob Sutton. We don't get Spaz.
Can't have that.
They might have kept him. They might have extended Bob Sutton. We won the Super Bowl. They might have kept him around.
And was that the
So
year? Was the year after that we got Mahomes, right?
no, that was the year we had Mahomes.
That was the year we
Remember?
had Mahomes. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost to the Patriots because I remember both Patriots games that season went the same way. When we faced them in the regular season, Mahomes kind of had a bad first half, and then he brought us back
Mhm. Mhm.
because he
Yeah,
kind of
you're right.
figured out what he kind of figured out what Bill was doing. He kind of like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here, and then he figured it out and brought us back. And the same thing happened in the AFC Championship game. And that thing when Tom threw that interception because he threw a ball to Gronk and
Yeah.
it bounced off his
And
hands.
Snead.
Chavarius Ward intercepted
Oh,
the
it's Ward.
ball.
Yeah. Ward.
Yeah, it was Ward. He intercepted the ball, had 2 feet in, stepped out. And everybody's like, oh, we won. Because it was like only like a minute something left and
Right.
the game was over. And then you just saw the flag. You was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was cool.
number 55. I was like, pain.
That was a rough one. And then he
I
ended up going to
knew
49ers. Got second
then we
for him.
lost. And then we lost the coin toss. I was like, yeah, we lost. Our defense ain't gonna hold up against no damn Tom Brady.
That was some BS. But it got us the one. It got us the run.
It did.
Butterfly effect.
Like I said, I think it was more painful losing to Tom Brady when he was in Tampa Bay than it was with the Patriots.
That one, yeah, that was so deflating. Just never had a chance, man.
Yeah, because our offensive line was
depleted. We're on the fourth string offensive line, and
we lost to the Pats because we could have beat them in regulation. Then that bullshit hands to the face, well, that was a bad call from Chris Jones. That shit was trash. The Brady rules got us again. Yep. Now it's the Mahomes rule, I guess.
You ain't wrong.
They claim Mahomes gets. I still beg to differ on that. Mahomes gets all the calls. I don't.
Statistically, it's wrong. The Chiefs were one of the more penalized. Like on one side of the mouth, people are talking about Jawan Taylor being the most penalized player in the league, when he was not doing that much worse than what most tackles are doing these days. But
right.
You can't say we're getting preferential treatment and then also see that we're the most penalized team. It's like that just doesn't work. But
that's what I'm saying.
It's the golden boy.
Mahomes gets roughing the beat. He gets thrown, slain around, dumped on his neck, and we don't never get no calls. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mahomes scrambling like a madman that whole fourth quarter. Yeah. And at Super Bowl. Yeah.
He gets calls during those, though. He does get his calls during those.
Yeah, he does, but it was bad.
He knows what he's doing. He knows how to properly, LeBron flops, those things.
Yeah, it was bad. I remember watching that Super Bowl. It was bad. It was like, damn, we're gonna lose.
The Eagles when they ran out of bounds.
We're gonna lose. But he still was throwing like incredible passes in that game. Mahomes gets 0 call. He's like, Cam. They light his ass up, then penalize Jones for laying on the car with ball. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody claims, oh, Mahomes, he cries. He cries because he's getting tired of getting beat up.
Yeah. People landing on him.
Yeah.
Max Crosby. Max Crosby's always coming with some dirty shit.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, but we can't complain because when you win the Super Bowl, we get on the comp. And then last year, Taylor Swift effect. What?
You gotta play against that now.
Look, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is our time. We went through pain in this organization.
I agree.
For years, they didn't care.
Yep.
They just throw anything on the field. And we sat there and cheered for it, thinking we was gonna go to a Super Bowl.
Save our Chiefs. I remember that. That was crazy.
We just knew Trent Green was going to take us to the Super Bowl. And Priest Holmes. That offense was prolific, though. That offense, man. We scored 35, but we couldn't stop nobody.
We'd give up 38.
We couldn't stop nobody. At all.
Gunther Cunningham. What was that?
Dick Vermeil.
Yeah.
Dick Vermeil years.
Yeah, I was just trying to think it was a DC during that time.
I think it was Gunther. Was it good? No, it was Greg Robinson. It was Greg
Yeah,
Robinson. He was
you're right.
terrible. He was
You're right.
Bob Sutton 2.0. He was just bad Bob Sutton. He was bad, man.
Yeah, that was bad. Yes.
Bad.
Great on Matt. A lot of fun on Matt. Tony Gonzalez,
Yeah,
Dante
it was.
Hall, Eddie Kinnison.
Yeah, Eddie Kinnison. Even though I wasn't the biggest Eddie Kinnison fan, but yeah, I just thought he ran one route. He ran one good route. He can get you on the fly route.
Mm-hmm.
He run that 9 like nobody else. But anything else,
it was just so busy. Just Priest Holmes. And it was Larry Johnson.
Yeah.
But it was always just Tony Gonzalez. That was some fun times.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Got anything else?
No, I think we're good. I think we touched on a good amount. So just kind of shocked by some of the moves that some of the other teams made, but at the end of the day, Chiefs are the Chiefs.
I remember the no punt game. Yep, we should have won that game. Damn Colts. Yeah, it's always the Colts.
Colts are that Andrew Luck fumble game always rocked me.
That took me a whole like 4 or 5 months to get over that game. Like like, that game like broke me down. Like as a Chiefs fan, I couldn't get over it. I was a walking zombie for that game. Like I just because we was balling. That first half we was just balling, and
we were up like 4 scores.
And it was like, and then everybody just started dropping like Jamal Charles.
We lost like 7 starters in like a quarter and a half.
Everybody just started getting hurt, and then it
was Donnie Avery.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, that was a rough one.
And don't get me started on Steelers because Le'Veon Bell used to just smoke us. He used to just tear us up. Like we act like we didn't even want to tackle that man. Like he was tiptoeing through the line. I'm like, man, he don't mean this. Like defense, like look at him. Like he don't hit the man.
Johnson.
Yeah, it's like come on, what we doing?
That's the past. We don't got to worry about those anymore.
We don't because we're Super Bowl champions and we're gonna win another one.
On the way.
We're gonna be the first team to three-peat, and everybody really gonna hate us. So shout out to Mahomes being on Monday Night Raw last night.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Him, Creed Humphrey, and Trey. You know what I'm saying? They was out there. They about to beat up Braun Strowman.
Strowman's a big dude, man.
Yeah, he's big, but Creed and them kind of big too. They was standing right there with him.
What I'm saying.
Mahomes giving the fake Super Bowl. I don't think it was a real. Giving the fake Super Bowl rings to Logan Paul to punch people in the face.
Yeah,
I don't think they had the real Super Bowl rings.
I don't think they would. Yeah.
But
Jake Paul declines it. He can afford it.
Yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to Logan, man. Shout out to Logan. You know what I'm saying? Bring my homes and the crew through. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to y'all in Kansas City representing. Saw a lot of Chief jerseys out there. All right, man. Go ahead. And this thing. Shout out to Glitch Energy Drink. Where's it at? Where's it at? There you go. Glitch Energy Drink offers a wide range of delicious flavors to suit everyone's taste preferences, whether you're into fruity flavors like Maori Punch and Cherry Bomb, prefer something unique like Blue Smurf and grenades. There's something for everyone. Glitch Energy Drink is not only great for gamers, workout warriors, but also for everyday people who simply need a boost of energy. It's a healthy choice that you can feel good about. Find more information. Purchase Glitch Energy Drink at glitchenergy.com. Once again, glitchenergy.com. Remember to use the promo code AHTPOD to get 10% off your purchase and start enjoying this benefit of this delicious and energizing drink. Shout out to Glitch Energy. If you look down at the bottom, you see the link, EMQ Podcast facebook.com/locker-room. If you go to that link, you see the locker room access of all the podcasts under the Every Morning Quarterback umbrella. They have a 49ers one, they have a Patriots one, they have a Jets one, and they have ours, Arrowhead Chief Podcast. Click on the banner. You'll see all of our episodes from the past ones to the recent ones. Also, check out their podcast. They talk about everything NFL league wide. They've been covering the draft. They've been covering all that stuff. They cover college football too. So go ahead and check them out. And they give you better tips for the week too. So go ahead and check them out and subscribe to their channel. And whatever streaming platform you use, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, whatever streaming platform that you listen to your podcast on, Arrowhead Chief Podcast is available. Go ahead and follow us on there. If you're a first-time watcher on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that notification. So when we go live on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can tap in with us, or 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, my bad. You tap in with us, jump in the comment section like Joe and Nani and whoever else usually jumps in here, Brian sometimes. But go ahead and do that, subscribe, and be a part of the Arrowhead TV podcast family. And whatever social media platform you use, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, Twitch, whatever you use to do your social media on, Arrowhead Chief, right above Ash, you see the AH Chief Podcast. Go ahead and follow us on there. We'll follow you back. Give us feedback, critiques. You can give us a question, a topic, well, as long as it's Chief or NFL related. We like it. We'll bring it up on the show and we will shout you out because, like I said, we want to be a part of this show just as much as we are. So go ahead and do that. All right, people. Hope y'all enjoyed the draft. Hope you enjoyed this off season. I don't know. We'll have a show next week because we got to see material. Yeah, see material. We have some material to talk about. Me and Ash will be back next Tuesday. But if not, then stay tuned and we'll let you know when we're back. So until then.